Okay, I am excited. This is the very first writers' chat. Now, what are writers' chats and why? Basically, I have come back to writing fiction after a very long hiatus, and it's a solitary endeavour. And I've spent the last, quite a few years indie producing a cooking show. It actually started before I released it. I released it 2 years ago. But the work on it started back in 2012, I think, or 11. And, it's been a while working on all this stuff behind the scenes. And I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I've published 3 books for the show, and now I'm coming to fiction. And, it can be isolating as a writer. And I'm very much a beginner writer because I'm not earning much money from my books. And but having said that, I've got all this experience because I've produced the show and I've published the book and done print runs and done all of this stuff. I've basically tasted every part of this process, and and there's lots of stuff to share. So anyway, I wanted to have some chats for people who aren't part of a in-person writing group because maybe there's not one in your area, or your lifestyle or whatever makes it hard for you to get to one.
Yeah.
And to give you that feeling that you're part of a writing group by listening to writing chats. And so here I plan to chat with other authors. They're going to be talking about their books. They're going to be talking about writing. They're going to be talking about how they write. I'm loving the idea of chatting with people in the early stages of writing, or people who aren't yet making millions. Because
Not yet.
Not yet. See, I'm being positive. Because we know and understand what it's like, and sometimes it's great to listen to people who are much further ahead than you, but sometimes the information they give doesn't directly relate. They can tell you about all these cool automation things, but it's going to cost you a bucket load of money, and you're not going to be earning that for a long time, maybe. So anyway, that's kind of the concept behind the writer's chat. I think I've had a better intro before, but oh well, too bad. This is the one I'm going with now. Because let's just get started. So I am chatting with Sarah Gay, who is the editor-in-chief and creator of Indie Love magazine, which celebrates all things indie, basically. And I'm going to get Sarah to talk about her magazine because you might be thinking, who the hell are these people to be talking about this stuff? So over to Sarah. Sarah, tell us about your background and why I'm chatting to you about writing.
Okay. So do you want me to go all the way back, or do you want me to go back to when I started writing?
As far back as you want to go. Well, about writing. And you can talk about Indie Love and your books, and yeah.
I'll give you a brief. I did a lot of writing in school, and I mean, not just writing, like I did a lot of competitions, I did a lot of poetry. I did public speaking. I loved public speaking. It was fantastic. My favourite one was about saving the whales. That was fantastic. Nobody else cared, but I cared. So I was always in the creative arts, Rocker Stedfords, music, you name it. I was always doing crafts. Oh my gosh, I sold lavender bags on the corner of my street. Seriously, most profitable business I ever had. But no,
that's what we have to start doing again.
Whole neighbourhoods, lavender bushes, but people felt so cool. I had one of those. Do you remember those dinner trays? The metal dinner trays that just set up, watch TV. I don't know. I think they were from the 70s. I'm not really sure. But anyway, that was my stall, and it worked. It was fantastic. But anyway, so for a lot of years, I just went into retail, supervising, supermarkets, all that sort of stuff. But after I had the kids, I decided to get serious about doing manuscripts because I had so many manuscripts just sitting around. But like I've talked about before, your own writing's never good enough. So they kind of just sat there, and I really did sort of fall out of love with them. So anyway, I had this idea for a few months as I was driving all the time, just about me and my friends, and I wouldn't say we're your mature 30-something-year-olds. We're very immature sometimes, but we have a heap of fun. So I decided to do a book about it, and I ended up writing the curvies based on each one of us. And it's actually really scary how much alike my characters are to us. So that was 2012 as well. And I ended up releasing those. I've released a few books since then, and then I started Indie Love magazine at the start of last year, which was it was a crazy thought because I'd never done a magazine. I did an e-course, asked about e-course. So I ended up starting that. I had absolutely no experience, so it was an awesome learning curve. And there are a lot of things that are different about doing a magazine than what it is doing a book. Completely different because, you know, you're writing for yourself, but with magazines, you've got to write for other people and you have to represent them. So, big learning curve for me, and but I'm loving it and I hope to help people. So there we go. I just told you all of that in 5 minutes. That's my life, apart from being with kids. So there you go.
Okay. So I'll talk about my background a little bit. So basically, I've got a science background. I did a Bachelor of Science degree, and then I did honours, and then I did 6 years towards a PhD, which I quit to study naturopathy. And through all of that, I always loved writing. Like you, I was doing drama and debating and all of that in school. And English, I loved it. It was my favourite topic. I was the kid that had read the most books in the year. You know, I got A's easily for English. I loved it. And then, you know, but when it came to getting a career or, you know, post-school, you know, Dad was like, do something sensible like science. And so I went down the science path. It's only when you're down there you realise it's just as hard to earn a steady income with that anyway, because of the grant system. And so, yeah, so I did PhD, but I never really wanted to be a career scientist, so I was more interested in nutrition. But they kept restructuring the course. But anyway, so while I was doing the PhD, I let myself write. Like, you know, certain circumstances in my life changed, and I decided to say, bugger it, I'm just going to write. So I signed up for a How to Write for Mills and Boon, because I always loved Mills and Boon. And I know there are people that screw their nose up at it, but I just loved it. It was the first romance novel I ever read when I was 11 or 12. It was a sweet one, so, you know, there's no sex or anything in it. And then I got into the historicals, and I remember I read like a historical novel the night before my maths exam. One of those thick ones. I passed. Not well, but I passed. Yeah, you know, and I loved books. Books were my life. They always have been. And it's funny, I've seen like psychics and they're like, oh, I see lots of books around you. And it's so cool because I have like 9 bookshelves in my house, and I've just recently got a Kindle, and I love it because I'm out of space on my bookshelves, and we've got books in the shed, and like my hubby's got books at his house where he grew up in the country, and we just got heaps of books, and the kids are becoming book lovers too. So anyway, so I started writing, and then you know, each time life took me back to the health thing, you know, and so I did take a year out when I was studying naturopathy to focus on writing, because I thought, no, bugger, I just want to write. So I wrote 3 full-length novels from about 2002 to, I'm going to say 2005 or something, because I was working full-time that time. And then, and then like lots of partials. And then when I got, I found out I had endometriosis and an ovarian cyst, in 2008, I reckon it was, and yeah, we were told if we want a family to get started trying, and so we ended up having a family, and then I was busy finishing off naturopathy because I had, you know, it kind of took me straight back to health. And then my daughter had like allergies, and I've always had food sensitivities, and so I came up with this crazy idea to make a TV show. And my friend Anne, who had given the How to Write for Mills and Boon workshop that I'd done, because she's written like 60 books with Mills and Boon, said, why don't you create the TV show? The words that changed everything, because I did. And so like you, I had the biggest learning curve to do. I was a complete and utter technophobe. I was one of the last people in the world, I reckon, to get a smartphone. Okay, slight exaggeration, but you know, digital cameras, I I had people laughing at me when I was at the top of the lookout of Horseshoe Bay in Tasmania, saying, "Oh my gosh, film camera! I haven't seen one of these in years. I didn't know they still made them." So, that's me. I was that girl, and
I would love to see that, by the way.
oh my God. And so I had to learn everything. I had to learn about DSLRs. I had to learn about creating websites. I had to learn about social media because I was anti-social media, but I've had to learn about it, and I've come to enjoy certain aspects of it. And I've just had such a massive learning curve, and so much has changed, in that time. And so I've been really heavily involved in doing the show over the last few years. And so only recently I decided, when I burnt out, to take a break and to write again. And that's why I'm here. So I feel like I'm a beginner, even though I've been doing this for a while. I've written full-length novels that will never see the light of day, ever, as we all do.
Yeah, I've got a few sitting around.
But I've published 3 books for the cooking show, and I've done the whole gamut there as well. So except the sales.
Yeah.
So, but and this is different, and I'm loving writing fiction because it's different than writing non-fiction in a way, and I just love it. I love stories. I've always loved the healing power of stories. I talk to my clients in my naturopathy clinic with story as well. I always use examples, and it's funny. At one stage, I was tutoring nutrition and dietetics students, and I had all these international students, and they've all passed their exams, and I was tutoring the basic sciences, and they were saying, "Lisa, I passed that exam because of you, and I thought about your story about the highway and all this," and one of them said I should write the textbook of analogous science because of all the stories that I told them, the analogies. That was what helped them pass their exams.
So I think you need to tell people, if they're watching this is a coffee chat. We ramble. So we're just warning, because we say we like to get to the point, but we do go off topic a little bit. We get back on track.
Well, you know my background, so that was my background. That's how I get here. I like stories. But it is a coffee chat because I want you to feel like you're part of a writer group and you're sitting there and you're having a cup of tea as well. Okay?
Yeah. And the big thing that Lisa wants to bring you, I'm going to run into this one.
Oh, okay.
She wants to bring to you with these chats that, it's not going to be easy. If you're going to be an indie author or a writer or, any other creative arts, honestly, musicians, it doesn't matter. It takes a lot of effort. You're not going to make money overnight. Even those successful ones you see, you have no idea how many years they do this.
Yeah.
So, what she's trying to bring to you is it's going to be real.
Yeah.
You're going to
hear it real.
to go and make $100,000 because, when you start releasing, when you start getting those books done, it takes a lot of your own money. It takes a lot of marketing, you name it,
and
but
time and energy.
Lisa will introduce you to a lot of authors that are going to give you their advice, you could just take Lisa's advice, my advice, but every single one of us does something differently. So, sign in for the chats, talk to Lisa. She's absolutely awesome. And give you all the advice that you need. If she can't give it to you, she'll call me.
I'll ask Sarah. That's why she's here.
I will give her the advice to give you.
Oh, you make me laugh.
All right.
All right, so let's move on. This is an excellent segue into what I want to talk about next. So these have evolved because over the last year we've had a lot of phone calls ever since we connected through Indie Love, and we've had a lot of chats where I'm like, Sarah, man, we need to be recording this because this stuff is cool and people need to know this stuff. And so one of the things we've had a chat about over the last year is that there's kind of 2 kinds of indie authors. There's the beginner indie author who's totally fully indie, and then there's the indie author who is the actualized epitome of indie author. They're the ones that are earning money. They're earning enough money to have a team so that the poor buggers aren't doing every single thing. And they really do have a publishing company with one front-runner author, which is them, And that's where we would all eventually love to be, or at least to have the option to do that.
personal assistant. I'm telling you, it makes life so easy. But that's right. This is basically for new authors who don't get that. You know, there are a lot of indie authors out there that have people, street teams, and they've got personal assistants doing all of their social media. We are not those people.
Yeah,
We are not those people.
If you're those people, email me and I'll interview you. But we want to talk to other people who aren't those people yet either, and some might not even realise that, you know, there is this divide. No, it's not a divide, that's the wrong word, but it's a spectrum, and you got to understand where you are on the spectrum, and it's a journey as well, and it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so with this thing, you know, when you're beginning, you do everything. And so one of the mistakes that I made in the last few years, I signed up for a lot of online business courses when I was starting the show, because I had no idea about how the online world worked. I'd been a user for a few years, but I'd not been involved in the marketing side of things. And so I probably got sucked in a little bit. But, you know, I learned some interesting things, and I learned some knowledge, but one of the things I realised was a lot of the stuff I was learning wasn't really relevant to being an author. I've only really realised that in the last year or so. A lot of those courses that I did were more geared to, and the techniques they teach you are more effective for people selling higher priced items, like high priced e-courses or high priced coaching. You know, all these, you know, those kinds of things where it's like thousands of dollars, and then the numbers can start to add up. But without all of that, you're taking some of that advice, like the outsourcing advice, to save you time so you can be doing your passion, and it'll send you broke or bankrupt your family, because it takes a lot before the numbers start to add up and you start to be earning the income, especially when you're looking at the books. So like Sarah and I have chatted before how a book is like really selling a coffee. It's a one-to-many business model, really. And our biggest challenge is being seen by the many. And a lot of the online business advice about grow your list and build your list and all that stuff only really comes into play when you're a much bigger, well-known author and you've got a massive list, because it really is a percentages game. And the conversions, which means like who buys the book to how many people see the book, are really quite small. And so, and that's it. And that is when you're looking at your target market. So even when you're looking at urban fantasy readers for me, or young adult Christian romance readers for Sarah, your target market is still the percentages that are going to come across and buy your book is going to be quite small. And so it's a numbers game. And so while, yes, it's great to start building your list and doing all that stuff, it takes a lot of time and effort. And another analogy I would like to use, and I don't know if I've chatted about this one with you, Sarah, it's like having a baby. So when we released the first book for Alternative Chef Kitchen, Glennis says to me, okay, Lisa, you birthed the book, now you birthed the baby, now you've got to breastfeed it. And I have to laugh. Isn't it a freaking excellent analogy? Because the writing is the gestating, and then the launch is the birth. And everyone worries about the perfect launch, but really, you shouldn't be focusing about this natural perfect birth. You should be worrying about afterwards, when you've got this baby to look after. And in the early days, it's a 24-hour-a-day deal, which, you know, we're not trying to suggest you burn yourself out working 24 hours a day, but what we're saying is it takes a lot to actually build things up.
Yeah, exactly. It does.
And then it gets easier as time goes on, and I think once you write more books, then you develop your backlist and do things like that. So, so that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about with that, in terms of being the two kinds of author. So I'm the kind, and so is Sarah, where we're doing everything. So when it comes to the show, I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing the Facebook and posting and the Instagram, and I'm, doing everything. And I'm coordinating. I do have a video editor, and I was working with a designer to do some social media images for us. But, as funds dry up, I have to do more and more of all of that stuff. Again, I write the blog posts, I write the newsletters, I have to learn how to schedule, I have to learn how to maintain the website. I did have a website designer for Alternative Chef Kitchen, but I'm running Lisa M. White myself and setting and just doing all that myself, and all the image. I take the photos of the food. I had a photographer and a designer for our first book, and I had a designer for the second book, but I've done our third book. And it's just one of these things, like, you know, if you've got that passion that you want to share something with people, but the funds get limited because you've taken advice that hasn't panned out and hasn't paid off, then you have to learn how to do more. And so that's what I want to talk about that. What about you, Sarah? What do you have to say in regards to the two kinds of authors, where we are on the spectrum, what kind of tasks need to be done? Because it's not just about writing the book, it's about what comes after.
Look, I sort of go from experience of all the things that I did wrong. You know, and I think that's, if anybody watches this and gets anything out of this, it's about the simplicity of being an indie author. You know, when I started out, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I had nothing. I was going to write this manuscript and that was it. I mean, I found absolutely shoddy editors. My first cover I got was ridiculous. I mean, you'll never see that cover, I'm telling you. You know, but I wanted to do the best on a limited budget. It wasn't the best, you know, and I think so. As far as an indie author, you know, we do everything. I mean, you see my websites, Lisa. I taught my...
That's great. I love your websites.
Well, I spent 80 to 100 hours figuring out how to get the best. So websites were done myself. All my social media, it's done myself. You know, when somebody, if I reply to somebody, guess what? It's not a person like it.
Yeah.
It's me. As far as book clubs and things like that, we'll get into that, I think, another lesson. Lisa and I are very different on that. I don't go into author groups and things like that. I've got very specific, you know, loves of my life, like Lisa, and things that are a great support. But the reason I don't go into them is because it takes too many hours. It's I don't have the time to social network that way, and it is a big part of being an indie author. But you know, so look, I mean,
and
my first book
as well. Like, you know,
I have 3 kids.
I don't know if we've mentioned that.
And, you know, and my husband and I run a business. You know, I run Indie Love. I do write, so I don't have the hours in a day to quite possibly just do all this social networking. It's ridiculous. Doesn't happen. So if I was going to, as far as indie goes, we're probably on the lowest spectrum. We don't have 200,000 followers. But that doesn't mean our books don't do good. You know, my first book was a bit slow to start. By the second and third book, that's when I was making a living. You know, I was pretty much living at home on a part-time wage. So figure that one out. I'm not going to tell you how much it is. But I was on a part-time wage, and that's what funded all of Indie Love and all the startup costs for that. So as an author, I was really, really lucky. But I'm going to tell you why, because I'm going to give you basics. I'm just going to give you maybe 3 basics of how to start as an indie author. And you would have heard it all before, but I'm telling you, you have to stick to it. The first one is get your manuscript edited by a great editor. If you need editors, ask one of us, because I've got a great one. And, you know...
Your Indie Love book about writing, I'll put the link in. I'll make a page for this and I'll put a link in under it.
Yes, check my Indie Love book about writing, you know, and publishing a book. It's simple, it's basic.
I really like it.
There's no fluff about it. So anyway, you know, get an editor. That's what you need. And not just an editor who's going to fix your writing. They need to tell you what works and what doesn't. They need to tell you what parts of the story don't make sense. If you can find an editor like that, hold on to them. They're fantastic. You know, and we're not talking thousands of dollars here like you will read in some books. You know, we're talking a few hundred, but they're totally worth it. The next thing, you know, awesome cover design. You hire that cover designer. I'm telling you, do not make your cover design yourself. I will be on you about this because Because as much as we say you can't judge a book by its cover, it is a load of crap. You know, when I go looking for books, I'm looking for a cover that attracts me, and I need to be drawn to it. Something has to happen about that book. Okay, you know, once you've got those and you know your manuscript's great and you do put it online, my book will show you that. It will show you how to get it online. You have to market. You have to market. And it doesn't have to be expensive. You know, I mean, you can do it fairly cheap. I do blog tours and they cost me around about $70, but you're going on between 40 to 60 blogs. And these people are all about writing. And if you want, they'll review it.
When I looked at your Indie Love book, I love how you listed it, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, blog tours, you know, book marketing and all of these book websites, and just Google them, and I've got no idea what they mean, you know, and I don't have the time to freaking spend another 2,000 hours Googling stuff. I've Googled non-stop for the last, you know, so many years.
Yes, I have all the links in there of everything that I use, all the places.
Yeah, give me a reference point so I can get started. And when I was looking at the prices, because, you know, my husband, after what we've done with the show, you know, when I talk about, oh, there's a program I'd like to use, and he's like, oh, a very patient man, that one. But, you know, and when I showed him, like, you know, how much this costs, I was like, oh, this is actually really cheap. You can actually make a decent go of it with that, because I have spent thousands on promoting the show, and it didn't sell books, and I didn't realise, and only now, you know, that I'm looking into writing stuff, that I've seen other people tell similar stories, and so it's like, it's not just me.
My first book, I mean, I spent thousands, and it's because I took advice of people that have been doing it a long time, but they had a following. So, you know, I had paperbacks that, you know, all those paperbacks cost money. I had paperbacks I was sending out, you know, to reviewers and everything. I had no idea about online reviews, you know, like, you know, where you can put them into a place where people can review them and for free on an ebook, you know. So I was sending out paperbacks. I was getting swag made up. You know, you've got 200,000 followers. That's awesome. You know, give the swag, because people have already bought your books anyway, or bought your ebooks. So it's not going to cost you anything. But as a new indie, you just need to focus on how good those first few books are. And you have to work hard at it, because you have to capture those people. Because you're not going to have an email list. You're not going to have an email list of thousands. You know, when you start, I mean, it takes so long to build up. But social media, you know, I don't rely on that. No. I mean, you know, my social media is pretty basic. But, you know, people get to know your name, and once you start putting pre-orders on Amazon because you've written books and things like that, they go, oh, I loved the first series, so I'm going to do it. So I don't rely on that. I rely on the writing, and I don't try and pump them out. I write how I want to write, and I don't want to give people crap, but yeah, so I mean, they're my three, you know, editor, cover, marketing. So that's what every new author needs to do.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about writing buddies. So I'm not part of an in-person writing group, hence Writers Chats. I did, however, last year join ALLI, A-double-L-I, the Alliance of Independent Authors. And I love it. I actually really love it. They're a helpful bunch. They've now reached 1,000 people in the Facebook group. It's a rational price to join. They're really helpful when you've got advice. You know, jump in the forum and you just ask, how do I do this? Why is this happening? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I feel that was money well spent, and it's time well spent as well. It's like not arduous. It's not like some other groups that I've been in where you feel like you have to be in there all the time, and then when it comes your time to share, they change the rules on you and you can't, or you know, no one answers or anything. Like, it's really, I've found ALLI really friendly, and people actually respond and help, so it's really cool. And even the other nice thing about it is like, there are some bigger names in there as well, like Joanna Penn is in there, and, you know, she replies and comments and gives help, and I thought, oh, cool, you know, she's finding time to do that, which is really nice. Yeah, so I've quite enjoyed that group, but I don't have a local group, and I was lucky to meet Sarah last year, because she's become my writing buddy, and it's been really important because I can show her stuff, and she can give me an opinion, which is pretty much on the mark, and anything that I've been feeling when she says it's like, yep, okay, I know it's a thing. And I've got another friend who reads my writing, but she isn't a writer, and she's excellent. She was a manager of a bookstore. So
you need a non-writer. You need a non-writer. Yeah. Honestly, you do.
So they're my two beta readers, and my husband, who he's just an avid reader. Yeah, that was quite cute too. But yeah, so they're my readers. But yeah, I've got Sarah as my writing buddy, and it can feel pretty isolating when you don't have that person to chat to. What about you, Sarah? How many writing buddies have you got?
I have you. I have you. And my wonderful editor. She's so good. Like, you know, because she's more than my editor, because we've been together for years now. So she'll give it straight. She'll give it straight. She could answer things, you know, because I'm the worst person to go from present to past tense to first person to third perspective. I'm shocking. I'm just like a muddle, a kaleidoscope kind of writing. It's ridiculous. But she'll give it to me honestly, and I mean, it's the same with you. You know, you bite your nails when you give the first draft to somebody and you go, oh man, they're going to hate it. But it's, you know, never be offended by your writing buddy, because they tell you how it is, and that's how you're going to fix it. And then I have one of my best friends, Alana, who Curve My Attitude is based on. She reads everything, and she'll tell me what she likes and what she doesn't like, and everything. So I pretty much have that. I don't have a massive group. I try to do the whole Facebook groups and everything, as you know, like, you know, and your chick lit groups. I mean, occasionally I'll still go into them, but I just didn't have hours upon hours upon hours to keep socialising with them. You know, and I found, I mean, in the writing world, in the indie world, it's very clique. It's very clique. And I didn't want to be a part of a clique. And I wanted to always keep myself open to, you know, I get a lot of emails and a lot of Facebook messages from new authors who ask me if I want to review their books, who ask me if they can ask me questions. And I have no issue with that. And I'm happy to help them. But you'll find in a lot of the cliques, they don't have time. Yeah. You know, and stuff. So I try and keep it very small. And help out however I can. So yeah, did I get off topic? What was we talking about?
No, you're cool. I haven't joined. Well, I've joined Facebook groups, other ones other than Ally, but I've got to be honest, I don't look at them because a lot of it is books available, and all I look at now really is Twitter, and I'm reaching out to people in Twitter, and I've met some people through Twitter, and I buy a lot of books. Books that I see advertised in the Twitter feed, and you know what? I resisted Twitter until last year.
A lot of people want, you know, they want to get all these connections through Goodreads, through chick lit and this and that. Problem is, oh well, you know, I mean, I love Goodreads. You know, I love, you know, saving books I want to read and things. Thing with Goodreads, the thing with, you know, Facebook groups like Chick Lit and writing groups and things which are awesome, they're not your readers. They're not going to buy your book because they're writing their own. They want to promote their own. It's not going to benefit you in sales unless they're all going to spread the word about your book to their followers. And about 90% of the time, that is not going to happen. So, I mean, you know, I'm going to keep it real. I don't even care if, you know, authors get all uppy about it because it's ridiculous.
I think but I think authors do read as well, though. Like, but obviously, I think I found the same in the other group, like business groups that I was in before. You know, everyone buys everyone's product until you release one.
No, this is you and me we're talking about. Come on, keep it real for them. We buy every author's book. We love supporting other authors. Yeah. I'm so proud to stick reviews on our site. We're so proud to do. Like, I think I did
and share and you know
2 years of reviews on our site, which we're talking about, and we're talking, you know, very big authors in the indie world, and you know, so I did a lot of write-ups for them. I shared them because I love their work and I so wanted to be there. for them. And when it comes to spinning it, a lot of the time you'll be lucky if you get the shares back.
Yeah.
Right, and that's where you need to support new indie authors, especially with Indie Love. Like, you'll notice a lot of the authors I have in there are new authors that need that kickstart and those reviews. And so I put them out there. I also have, veteran indies like Maya Sheridan and Nashoda Rose and stuff in there as well, because they've done it, they've been there, and now they're at another level as well. But, join the groups if you need support and find that one other person.
Yeah.
Really wants to have that friendship with you.
You know what? I'm going to say this, and I think it's something I've realised. So when I first started releasing the show, I didn't do any pre-build-up launching anything because I didn't have time for starters. I was too busy filming, editing, creating content, learning how the tech worked, all that stuff. And so when it comes to launching our book, so I did a print run, a local print run, and I sold those to bookshops here in Adelaide and in Australia. And then I also put it online. And then I realised a couple of things, like I needed cash flow, which was one of the reasons why we started selling from the website rather than promoting to Amazon, because I had to get a critical mass before I'd get that check, okay? And I needed to pay the bills then for the company. And so, I made a couple of decisions along the way, which is a bit like health, really. I want this chocolate bar now. I'm going to regret it when I'm walking for the next 10 days on the treadmill. But, it's what you have to do, like putting out fires. But I almost lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
I don't know. This is what we do. This is what we do.
There was a point to it.
You were saying... Hold on. You were saying about paperback books.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
Yes. And you got the out, and you had no luck with Amazon.
Oh, yeah. And so I had most of my sales have come. Oh, that's the point. Okay, so I found my point. So before I lose it, before I lose it. And so I've for our first book, most of our sales have come offline, and because I created relationships, because I understood about the distribution model, the big publishing houses, they've got the distribution contacts, they've got relationships with shops around the world, and they have the funds to buy up massive print runs and get their books in all these shops, because a lot of indie authors do a small print run which costs them a lot per book. They consider themselves lucky when they get a couple of copies by consignment in the local bookshop, and then they never realise that they're never ever actually going to make the money from those 3 copies, because the number of people that have to see it for it to really take hold, right? Which is why e-books are great, because they had that potential. The problem is, and I realised this too long, I didn't have any online connections to drive that traffic to the ebooks, and so even just putting it on Amazon alone isn't enough. It's like you're saying, you have to do the marketing, but also as you're getting started, if you don't know about that and you're not doing that, that's where just making some online friends who do the same thing. And I don't mean this in a cheesy, because I've seen cheesy and it's not cool. I don't mean it in a cheesy way, like I'll pretend to be your friend so you can scratch my back. But more in people you resonate with, like I'm not going to do stuff that doesn't resonate. But because then you're interested in the same stuff, and it makes more sense. It's organic to share it then, because, hey, check out this really good book. Like, I genuinely like Autumn's Dance. I like the complexity and the darkness and some of the sadness in it and the poignant moments. And that's the kind of book I like to read. I'm pretty eclectic though. There are books I don't like to read, but it takes a lot for me to say, nah, wasn't my thing, But and so I think that's, from that perspective, that's where, if you're starting out, that's where the online groups can be really helpful, especially if you're just getting started and you're just building a website, or you don't have a website yet, and that kind of thing. But anyway, we should probably wrap this chat up here, because otherwise it'll be a saga, and we will be back with more writer chats.
Yes.
as well. And if you have something that you would like us to chat about, by all means email us. The contact information is on the Writer Chats page on my Lisa White website, which is lisamwhite.com. All right, we will chat again soon. Bye.
Bye.